I think we're very grateful to you for that vision. Certainly this morning we heard the government's position and progress that it has identified and made, and we have had a sort of reality check with those most concerned, most interested by these recommendations and therefore the actions to be taken. Ultimately, this Commission of Inquiry, that's Article 26, was filed by the trade union movement with a view to really highlighting the serious concerns that they have been experiencing in exercising the fundamental rights at work, most particularly freedom of association and the right to organize. I think we have taken copious notes, and you have given us a perfect file of every single element of the Ruta, and indeed your assessment in quite a level of detail of the progress or lack of progress that you have seen. So I think we've got enough there with which to work and to reflect faithfully in our report your views, including the 3 conclusive points that you have just raised. But I wanted to come back before I take my final make my final remarks on probably saying, you know, in everything they say the glass is either half full or half empty. A lot depends on how one sees it. From the government's perspective, certainly it was half full, and from your perspective, it was probably half empty. Probably less than half empty, if I followed you very well. But, you know, a little dose of optimism, I think we must end on an optimistic note. And that is, the very fact that there has been this procedure has allowed for the engagement of the tripartite actors in Guatemala on issues of serious concern and continuing issues of serious concern that are not centrally in the current complaint relating to femicide and the concerns that you've raised, but we have now recorded those issues, and it will be in our report even if it's not part of the complaint per se. So from that perspective, I would say that every mission here, and this is the 4th one on the issue of the Article 26 complaint, every single mission here has enabled you and given you an opportunity to really continue to express your concerns and highlight them and bring them through this mechanism to the attention of the international community and the ILO and its supervisory mechanisms. So from that perspective, the fact that you have, there is, I would say, the light thrown on these issues. There is bound to be national level discussions. Sometimes even if it requires a mission to come back to get further engagement. It is my wish that this is not necessarily just triggered because another mission will have to come back again, whatever that nature of that mission is. But that at the end of the day, Guatemala as a country and all of those people who compose it, the government, the state that has to lead it. But importantly, what the ILO has, which is a tripartite actors, and therefore the trade union movement in all of its dimensions, and the employees organization, they can, through these mechanisms of the ILO, engage in issues of serious concern to them. And as you said, certainly, I would hope that engagement now, having thrown light, and quite a big light, is probably highlighting some of the concerns that you have expressed around democracy and whether or not your country is moving along that democratic path. I don't think If you didn't have that commission, you would have been able to engage the way you are engaging today. You would like to see more progress, so would the ILO. Would like to see more progress. And I can tell you, we will be committed to making sure that the government provides answers to some of the concerns that you've raised. Because we'll have to tell the government that indeed the picture painted today was not as good a picture as we would have liked to have heard from those most concerned by the issues, who raised those issues with the ILO. So it's my duty to go back to the government. And certainly I will ask my colleagues whether or not there will be a possibility to come back to you before we leave, so you can have an opportunity to hear from us. I know we have a tripartite schedule towards the end of the meeting. We won't leave here without one, because it is only fair to all of the parties that we give them a sense, even if all we have to do is write a report. The decisions about the Commission of Inquiry going from being convened is a decision of the ILO governing body. My job is to make sure that I faithfully reflect the information that has been provided to enable the ILO governing body to make an assessment of that progress and whether or not a Commission of Inquiry should or should not be set up. But your views about that will be very well documented. So I just want to say, and on behalf of my colleagues who are here, on behalf of our ILO Director General representative here, again, the fact that you've had that ILO presence is one of the most important guarantees that you can have. So that's why I say sometimes half full, half empty. And that presence, I hope, and that will be my recommendation too, must remain with you until decisions are resolved. We can't let you down, the ILO can't let you down, and the government has to do what it has to do as a government to make sure it protects all these people, and to make sure that it promotes human rights and fundamental principles and rights at work are part of human rights. And so these are sort of basics, ABCs, that all countries should as a minimum observe. And we will do our part to continue to raise awareness of the importance for government, as the state, to make progress on these rights. So thank you very much for the opportunity given us to be here, and we will be talking to you again, and that will be, I will leave it to Sergio to make necessary arrangements. I want to really thank you though for all the support that you're giving to him, because that's important. And for us to also know from you, and I noticed that that's not one of the points that you are evaluating, but it would be important to us to know as well whether that support, whether it's worth continuing that support, because it must be helped.